Hello class, welcome to week 8. I hope that you had a good week 7 and that you enjoyed the topics and the learning that took place. As we start week 8, we're going to be discussing literacy, and also we're going to talk about how to discern between truth and error, as well as how to improve our ability to select appropriate academic sources for maybe the research that you're conducting in future classes, or projects or things that you would be investigating. So that's the overview. As we start, you can see here on the screen this first picture. What does running have to do with week 8 and literacy? Well, not a lot. But I did want to share with you a small metaphor. This is a photo of one of the runners from Brigham Young University. He was in my ward for a semester or two, and he actually had an opportunity to run at the Olympics twice. Fantastic runner. Jason Pyra is his name. But I'm a runner as well, not at the level of Jason Pyra, but I am a runner as well, and I've coached running over the years. And the mile, which is the race that he specialized in, is a unique race. It's a tough race, but it's unique in that there's different phases of the race. So first of all, as you're running, the first lap, it's 4 laps, total of 4 laps, but the first lap of the mile is somewhat, I'd say, relatively easy because you're not tired. The last lap is also, it's a hard lap, but because you can see the finish and you know you're close to being done, giving the little extra effort is not as difficult. And so you're able to finish strong. The difficulty, I think, comes on the mile in lap 2, when you start to fatigue, in lap 3, when you're really tired and you're really not close to the end. And so why do I share that with you? Well, in a very real way, as we look at the semester, we are over halfway through the semester. So what does that mean? We're kind of like in lap 3. It's difficult because sometimes we get tired. Sometimes we don't have the same level of motivation that maybe we had at the beginning of the semester, or the same motivation that we might have here in a few weeks when we get ready to prepare to finish. So I would encourage you, as you go into this week, that you run hard, figuratively speaking, that you work hard, and that you try to remember your level of enthusiasm and your level of work that you had the very first week of class. And I think as we do that, that helps us renew our strength and our desire to work hard. Let me show you a couple other things as we get into this. Now, here's another interesting picture, a tennis ball. I have one here. Why would I have a tennis ball as an English tip? Well, as you learn English and as you learn new words, sometimes you have to be a little creative, and there are many techniques. We call them mnemonic techniques, and those are memory tricks, things that you can do to help remember phrases or vocabulary words. I use this example of the Spalding tennis ball because when I was in the MTC, I remember having to learn lots of vocabulary for my missionary service in Argentina. So we were learning many words every day in Spanish. And I remember this word in particular, not Spalding, but the word for back in Spanish is espalda. And I made a connection. I remembered as a child we used to play a game at school where we would throw a tennis ball at the wall. It would bounce off, and if someone dropped the tennis ball, then we had permission to throw the ball at the other person as hard as we could. Now that sounds like a cruel game, and it was, but we had a lot of fun with it as kids. And so I associated the word Spalding, the name of the tennis ball, with back, espalda. It's not a direct connection, but it's close, and that helped me memorize the word. And so that's one example. And that's an example that, for me, it's personalized, and I'll never forget that word association. I've included here also, so I'd encourage you to think about things like that. Maybe not for every word, but sometimes it works, and it helps you remember. Here's a link right here, Memory Tricks, and I have it pulled up right here. This goes through and shares some memory tricks that you can use. Music, which is a powerful, powerful way to learn. Name mnemonics. I'm sure many of you have used these kinds of memory tricks in your studies up to this point. There's some great examples of how to memorize, no matter what your language or what the subject or what you're doing. So I would encourage you to look through that. It's a great resource. Let's jump back to our page here. As we go down, our writing tip, just a quick reminder. You need to capitalize the first letter of a sentence. You also need to capitalize the word I, always. I'm still seeing some punctuation being left out, meaning when you finish a sentence, you're usually going to finish with a period, maybe an exclamation point, or if it's a question, obviously, a question mark. So keep that in mind. And then also this suggestion about every declarative sentence. If you're giving information, not a command, but information, you need to have a subject as part of that sentence. Your assignments for this week, well, one of the important assignments, last week for your application activity, you committed to do something four days in a row. And so I'm going to encourage you to reflect on that and encourage you to do that so that this week as you report, you have something to report and that you have success with that assignment. I wish you the very best this week. I know that this week is, again, you're talking about truth and error. You're talking about information. We live in an information age. And so there's a lot of very interesting topics that I think will perk your interest, and I look forward to the conversations that we have in the discussion board this week. I wish you the very best. Let me know if you have any questions or you need extra support, and I'm here for you. Thank you and have a great week.